Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Corigliano, host of the MouseTimes Podcast and your host for the 25th NASA Tweetup at the Kennedy Space Center for GRAIL, or the Gravity Recovery and Interior Laboratory Mission to the Moon. In this film, you'll get to see from beginning to end what I saw as well as what everyone saw, felt, and experienced during the amazing days during the Tweetup. Let's start on September 6th, 2011, as I head to get my badge at the Press Accreditation Building, also known as the KSC Central Industry Assistance Office.
Admission to the Kennedy Space Center. So we encourage you to use that Thursday. It does expire on the 13th of September.
All right.
You shouldn't need to use it tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll meet us at 8:30 at the Visitor Complex.
Okay.
Do you know where that is?
We were just there.
Okay, great. So you'll park in lot 4 and then meet us there at 8:30. We'll go in a side gate and go to the Venus Center, and we'll have instructions. And then at 9:15 we'll get on a tour of our buses, and then we'll bring you back between 1 and 1:30 for lunch break. So lunch is on your own. You can either eat at one of the visitor complex places, or if you can bring food and keep it in your car, or you can bring a snack and bring it on the bus.
So I can bring my cooler, just leave it in the car, and then okay, cool.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to get to it at the lunch break.
The conference, that's the building that's right outside the rocket bus.
It is, yes.
Yes, because I remember someone tweeted and I passed by. I was like,
I heard it
right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So you get a goodie bag.
Oh, nice.
The contents of the goodie bag are almost identical, but there's one difference. So you can either choose a goodie bag that has a space station calendar for 2011 in it,
All right.
or in the other goodie bags are a foldable poster, like a movie-style poster for NASA aeronautics workers, and a DVD that has a fly around of the International Space Station animation.
I'll take the second option.
It's the popular option. There's not going to be any of these left by tomorrow.
If I got the same stuff in it, except one's got an ISS calendar and one has a movie poster, like NASA posters for aeronautics and like an ISS DVD.
Yeah, it was funny because we went to the movies and we saw Apollo 18, and just to kind of get into the whole pumped up mood for it. And it's a good movie. You should definitely see it. But, I mean, obviously we know there's no Apollo.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everybody knows that.
Well, this helps you listen to that, yes.
Really, you have people that believe that they
We've
want.
gotten a lot of meeting requests, so we've been telling them.
You'll see signs.
It ended at 17. It's still a good movie. I mean, it shocked me quite a few times. So.
Good, that's good to hear.
All right, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Yo, badge, we're ready to go. And here we are outside the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. I was so excited for this day. I felt like every Christmas and birthday rolled up into one. I couldn't believe that today had finally arrived.
How are you?
Excellent.
Good. So we can go into the techs are actually still setting up the power strips and stuff for this afternoon, but you don't really need to settle in. So just, take a spot, let them do their work so that we can get all set up. They're setting up the Wi-Fi and everything. So we're just going to go around the room and do introductions. We'll have an AV microphone, so we can pass it around. Don't stress about the introductions. We just want your name, your Twitter handle, where you're from. If you want to say one interesting thing about you, that's fine. But we also need to keep it moving because we get on tour buses at 9:45, and then we go on our tour. So it doesn't matter what bus you get on, but you have to get on the same bus every time. So you get on any bus to start with, unless you're foreign national. If you're foreign national, you need to be on bus 1 or bus 3, and only 5 of you on each bus. So 5 foreign nationals on bus 1, 5 foreign nationals on bus 3. Other than that, feel free to go on in.
We leave stuff behind.
Do not leave stuff behind. That room will be used for something else in between, so either put it in your car or bring it with you on the tour. And this is where we'll be loading the buses out here.
A little more.
So, bus 1 or bus 3?
Sitting close to you.
Fair enough.
Good to go.
So during the morning, I had already made a friend, Christopher Arnold of Port St. Lucie, Florida. The morning was off to a great start.
5 feet closer.
Slow down there, Eddie. We're all lagging behind it.
So of course we're heading over to the Debus conference building.
Slow down there, Eddie.
And we have people snapping away furiously. We have people walking in.
But it was worth it. Yeah, it was cool. And we didn't get to do all this, so that's why I'm kind of glad I got into this one.
Oh, so it was literally.
Get some good shots there.
I think so. I hope so. Hard to
Always
tell
hope.
on the small
Always hope.
screen. Yeah.
Always hope.
Shoot a lot and sort them out later.
There you go.
Yep, right. Good to go.
This one? It's a Canon Vixia HV30.
Is that the standard lens on it, or is that an extra?
That's a wide lens, yeah. It's the ones that have the DV tapes.
Yeah.
Because I will not go to hard drive. I like my physical media. Alright, coming into the gate. And there's the entrance to the building. Here off to the right, we got the Rocket Garden. All the rockets from the late to mid 60s. And of course, we got the Saturn V.
How long are you going to talk for?
Going to talk for a while? Yeah, I got about 15 minutes, but I always run late.
Yeah, I know. I work in TV, so.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm always takes me a second to
Interesting thing about her.
Nice, good shot. Yeah. Yeah.
I just need to escape.
Okay, do we sit in the back and get in trouble? Yeah. Or do we sit up front?
again, no pressure. You know, mostly the introductions are so people can put the face with the avatar that they've seen on Twitter or with the Twitter handle, because a lot of times, you know, so you don't have to go up and read everybody's badge during the day, find out who everyone is. Okay, so again, I'm Veronica McGregor. I'm at Veronica McGregor, MCG on Twitter. I'm also at Asteroid Watch if you want to know when they're coming close. Yeah, that's you want to write your will. And a couple other ones, but you can find them all from Veronica MCG. And Stephanie, take it away. Okay, hey, I'm Stephanie, not Stephanie Shearholt, Stephanie Smith, but it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You need help, just say, hey, Steph, and one of us will respond. I am so excited to be here from Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Usually I'm tweeting on behalf of Mars rovers, Mars Curiosity. Excited about this mission because I get to say GRAIL. Also because one of you on the way in was like, man, this is so much better than a day at work. And I was like, yeah. Oh, wait.
Hi guys, I'm Courtney O'Connor. I'm also part of the JPL social media team. So we manage the Mars Curiosity, Mars rovers, NASA JPL, among other accounts. And then Stephanie and I have also been the moderators for the Building Curiosity Ustream chats. So if you have questions about MSL, we'd be happy to answer any of those too.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Doug Ellison. I'm at Doug_Ellison. My personal account is at NASA_eyes for Eyes on the Solar System, which is the visualization project I'll be demoing later. And unlike you, I have to share a plane here with these two guys.
And I'm Stephanie Stockman, and I'm not from JPL. I'm the Education and Public Outreach Lead of NASA Science and Mission Director, and I work at NASA headquarters. I'm GeoSteph on Twitter. That's my personal account. If you're interested in finding really good IPAs, as in India Pale Ales, you should follow the account. And I'm looking forward to visiting Cocoa Beach Brewing Company.
I am Leah Gibson, also not from JPL. I'm here at Kennedy, and I speak for NASA Kennedy, and just wanted to welcome you all here.
And I wasn't part of this crew, but I'm Jim Adams, at NASA Jim, Deputy Director of Planetary Science, and we are just pleased that you all are here, and we're looking forward to the impact that you'll have on the internet as you tweet this experience and get the word out about what a fantastic thing expendable launch vehicle launches and missions are. So thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so we're going to be heading on up to our buses now.
I'm the only, so I know it'll never.
And of course, this is what we are all waiting for, the very exciting Kennedy Space Center bus tour.
If I have any foreign nationals, right here. Any foreign nationals?
Number two? Yay for moving!
Can you hear me?
Yes!
Hi everybody, my name is Penny. I'll be one of your escorts. I'm from KSC. So I'll be with numbers that can get us into the VAB. We have to do that. And is everybody dressed with shoes, long pants, and so forth? You've probably gone through the ritual. Okay, good. My name is Penny.
bought pants.
Yeah, like in 1 cent. I'm a NASA retiree doing this as a volunteer, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So, hope you guys have a good time.
You know, suit pants and slacks and stuff for work and shorts. That's about it. Right. You following me? I think I am. I think I'm following. You followed me last night after dinner. Okay, all right. No, isn't it? The whole concept is... No, we work for the same company. So. Yeah. Yep. Different locations. You know, we're one of the 400,000 employees. Two of us ended up right next to each other on the same boat. How weird is that?
This is really great for me because I don't get off without getting pictures of our streams.
Nice, I like it.
I was like thinking of how many.
Yeah, there's not too many that have that many forms. It's pretty short list. We were doing a breakdown the other day. I would have big companies. You know what the third largest employer in the world is? The United States Post Office. Wow. And they may not be. They want to be which is
Yeah. You got the happiest cows. They say that California does, but
Of course, everyone's digging their phones, putting all tweets up. You got people across the aisle over here on their phone.
They follow up a couple hours later with a new release. It's been broken for like 2 weeks.
Twitter sometimes doesn't update their own app when they change their API.
Yeah, so it's really gotten bad. It's like I'm trying to find someone else who's got a device that will do it for space code. I'm not just space code. I'm a giant rocket who's a space code. Good thing about that is I'll see everything.
I remember the movie Contact. So Jodie Foster character to these versions are. Okay. And she's so fabulous. I heard that a Twitter I love her.
I'd like to officially welcome you onto the NASA Kennedy Space Center. As part of our first stop, though, this is a live ordnance facility. It is still operational. We still have possible things in there. As a result, if you have any cigarette lighters, matches, anything like that that could cause flammable things to go off, please take them out of your pockets. Check your pockets, check your bags, anything like that, and leave it on the bus.
So no grenades.
Okay? We don't want any accidents here, so. Other thing, when we go into the VAB, since it is operational, there's going to be stuff on the floor, there's going to be stuff everywhere. Please do not touch anything. Please stay away from it, you know, just watch out. So, and watch your step and be safe and have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Oh my God.
I didn't know the second largest ball of flying is here.
Clouds are starting to part now.
There it is. Holy crap, look how big it is.
Yeah, this ought to be a pretty decent morning. And I just saw the NASA helicopter. Yeah, I saw him. Oh, very cool. Yeah, he flew past Space Park several times for the last shuttle launch. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm super upset about that. James White. Oh my God.
If I can spend all this footage just doing this, I can put it on a refresh tape. I got like 12 hours of tape.
How long did it take you to capture that off there? Capture it in real time?
Capture in real time.
You could probably make a feature film of it.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
That's awesome. Huge, yeah.
That's a big one.
It's the second row of trees.
Hey, we need to create a...
Is that a Decepticon? You're being deceived.
So in addition to bald eagles here, there's a lot of alligators, critters, there's wild boar, lizards,
between the
that correct there. Pretty cool.
So stay on the beaten path, you know, we'll keep you safe here. Hopefully we'll see some critters along the way, so.
Hogs? Yeah, hogs. I love hogs.
Florida, they're considered an introduced species. You have private land.
We don't even need a license to protect it. You can just
If you have private land, no license.
count it. Yep. In fact, my dog, Mojo, he's my hog dog.
Oh yeah, this is actually happening. Holy crap.
I mean, you're helping out, right? I mean, if it's low water supplies, they'll dig up crops. Generally,
So of course, during this whole bus ride from the visitor center to our first stop, the vehicle assembly building, I was feeling mighty anxious to visit this location. To be first off, not only because of its history, but because Space Shuttle Endeavour was sitting right inside that building. The shuttle that my father had worked on back in 1985 and 86, and had told me as a kid over so many years, and to actually be able to physically see her in the building, I didn't know how I was going to react seeing her, being overjoyed or being emotional. But what you're going to get to see is what obviously actually happened. And Christopher Arnold, who was on this bus sitting right next to me, captured with his camera, and you're going to see and hear the emotions that were running through me when I first saw her. It's the largest single-story building in the world.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. What year was it built? 1966.
Year I was born.
Oh, really? You're a lot older than me then.
So was that a memorial for you, or were you a memorial for
Yeah, other way around. That's my memorial.
Okay. Pretty sweet.
I have a daughter who's probably older than you.
Hey guys, just as a heads up, these two tan buildings on your left are the OPF, which is the Orbital Processing Facilities. That's bays 2 and 3. And, no, excuse me, 2 and 1, I beg your pardon. And this is where they are demilitarizing or decommissioning the orbiters as we speak.
Ooh. Ooh, hiss.
They can't tell you that. There is no. That's right. No such thing. Never heard of it. I disavow any knowledge. I'm not a criminal. I have so many pictures standing right down the corner of that parking lot because we've done this tour so many times.
No.
I didn't want that, you stupid autocorrect.
Let's see
I
battery.
can't tell you how many times I tried to
Autocorrect?
I tried. I was like, come on, please let me hit.
Yep. That's the press site to the right. Yep. That's the basin where they used to bring the external tanks up and the big carriers that carry them into the VAB buildings.
Okay, is everybody taking all of your matches, all of your cigarette lighters, things like that out of your pockets? Make sure we got none of that going on here. When we go in here, we're going to step into the door and kind of group over on the left side once we're inside, and we're going to go from there and walk down the transfer aisle, which is the center where they transfer all of these space hardware into the stacking bays. So.
I've done the outside
Is that everybody over there?
Holy crap. You gotta be kidding me. Good God. Hey, Christopher, I've seen videos, but to physically be in this building, holy crap. Shoelace is untied, Christopher.
Where you will receive, they receive all the external tank. The orbiter comes in from that end down there. It comes in, and then they start doing the processing as far as stacking it.
What are the future plans for this now that unfortunately there are no more shuttles? Do they have other? I mean,
Not right now.
Deltas or Atlases or anything here?
At the moment?
At the moment.
Nothing.
As we
Nothing
speak.
is planned at the moment. That will change when we get another launch vehicle. So. Contract integration facility that's over on. They've already got their facility over there.
So the major Saturn V rockets were even housed in this building?
They were housed in this building.
Wow.
Now over to the right is the high bay where they use the mating.
cutouts for the flame trenches that are
Mm-hmm. So in this next scene, you're going to see my reaction as recorded by Christopher Arnold into seeing Spatial Endeavor for the very first time.
pack a full Saturn V rocket from top to bottom inside each of these high bays. So.
Oh god, this is gonna get emotional.
You guys just pulled up here for a minute. Let me go see how they're.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I see my dad's shuttle there. Oh man. I'm already getting emotional. I know it's like right around that corner. Oh man. For so long I've waited to see my father's shuttle and I get to see if... Oh jeez. Oh my god. Oh god. Dad, I'm near your shuttle. Oh god.
But
I want to stand here.
okay, I'll move.
You just can't like pull yourself away from it. I know. I want this guy so bad. Watch it. But I saw one never This is
The final Atlantis flight.
well, I saw it works, but that's the closest.
Everything else I do for me,
Right.
I'll do the same for you if you want.
This is the only one I've seen up close other than Enterprise.
Both the cell and the regular digital camera.
Oh, I
No.
Okay, guys. Hey guys, if you can come on back down this way.
Well, a variety of parking for artifacts out there at the moment.
That's the launch tower. That's the building on top of
The service structure for what's going to be the area.
Leaving the VAB.
They have a garage door.
I had to use it. I had to.
Yeah, I know.
What? Oh, it's the
good thing I wore.
Ooh, oh, those are fun.
Chicken?
Nope, a bunny.
Bunny?
Yep.
Holy cow. So of course we're here by the countdown clock. Oh my god! This is incredible. NASA, you need to mow the lawn, for crying out loud. Look at this. I see weeds up to my my ankles here. Of course, here is the Pegasus barge that brought the external tanks from Louisiana around to the tip of Florida and here to the Kennedy Space Center. And then they got unloaded to the vehicle assembly building. Now, if you're wondering what that little thing is, well, you all remember Constellation? Yeah, that's the remnants of it. So we're going to be continuing. Now, I'm going to bring down the legs of the tripod here. But obviously we have the flagpole that would have the shuttle that was obviously launching. But some interesting stuff here. As we zoom into the distance, see those three lightning towers? Well, that's where 39B was. Of course, Challenger launched off from that site, as well as many others. And after that, it got decommissioned. Obviously, they got demolished. But so the only one that's really left is Launchpad 39A, which you can still see is still standing along with the high lightning tower mast. And from the press site, we're at 3 miles from the launch pad. And of course, here we have the countdown clock, hour, minutes, seconds. What? How long has this countdown clock been here? Since Apollo? Well, it's been here for every shuttle mission.
I know, it's hard to see.
Yes.
I think I had the screen turned down or something. I don't want to be blurry.
Lifting his leg already.
He's whizzing with excitement. So of course there is 39A off there in the distance. Incredible to know that Space shuttles have launched off that. Also, Apollo has launched off of that site. Pretty incredible. Unlike Endeavour, this is something I'm definitely going to touch. Which one? Oh, yes. It's the world's largest window. So here it is up close. This is it. And this is actually what's behind the countdown clock. With all these wires that are obviously going to certain areas that control basically how this countdown clock works. A lot of the power units. And you can tell how much juice this is using because of the hum. The hum of electricity. Very interesting. The pad? Well, the pad is right out in that direction. And pad 39B. Yeah. Last call. Of course, as we're walking back to the bus, see, this is the press area. Here we got the CBS News, which is the same sign that was witness to the Apollo missions, as well as every single shuttle liftoff. Next to it, we got Reuters, followed by the Orlando Sentinel in Florida Today. And there's NASA's News Center over there. And for what I understand, NBC News, after no more launches, they packed up and left.
So they have an uninterrupted view of the launch pad from their operational area. So this is where all of the shuttles were launched from. It's where the big red button is, except there's no big red button.
It's an imaginary red button.
Lots of little red buttons.
Yeah. Good, because we have a button press somewhere around here.
So Jason, is this where the astronauts would leave?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this where the astronauts would leave to go to the launch pad?
No.
Where's that?
That's down in the KSC industrial area, which is almost down where we came in from the visitors complex.
Okay. All right.
So they suit up down there, they're put into what's called the Astrovan, the big silver Astrovan, and they're driven up the main highway and then down this road all the way out to the pad.
Okay.
They make a stop along in here to drop off some launch personnel to go into the launch control center and everything on their way out to the pad. So,
okay.
They actually drive the highway.
there may be one bit here.
Really?
Yeah.
Accidents or something.
So here begins the crawler way.
You know how well this takes. All the time.
Can we travel at the speed the crawler travels at?
So does anybody know roughly how long it takes to roll out the space shuttle?
8 hours.
8 hours.
What?
8 hours.
It's about 5 to 6 hours. It moves very slow.
5 to 6 hours.
1 mile per hour.
What?
Mile, isn't it 1
It
mile?
moves about 1 to 1.5 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
It's a huge diesel machine. It takes a lot of gas.
I've also seen that Mike Rowe worked on the grease when he worked on the crawler.
Yeah, were you out
That's
here
at
when
the
Mike
Pilot's
Rowe was
North
here?
facility. That's the solar job I did, guys.
Can we check into it? Is there
I think
it took us 6 months.
It looks awesome, man.
Looks great.
Thank you.
You do houses too?
I'm very proud of it. Yeah, that's really normally what we do.
Have you been out here since?
Is that your signature?
No, it's gonna be. Give me a can of spray paint.
You haven't been here since?
No, not since. And we finished in December.
So on launch days for the space shuttle, there was closest viewing spot for most everybody is going to be the press site where we just were, or on around the turn basin there where the Pegasus barge was. That's about a little over 3 miles away from the launch pad, and that's about the closest that most folks are able to view it from a safe distance. But if you notice up here, there's a little guard shack that we're going to go by, and when you go by the guard shack on launch days, there are always little armored personnel carriers that were out there with a crew recovery group that in the event of some sort of a mishap out on the launch pad could go out in basically a big armored tank and possibly rescue the crew and things like that, or take care of whatever the problem is that's going on out there. And they were the closest non-astronauts out to the launch pad, so.
Right.
You guys notice over here on your right, directly ahead of us, is what's called the gantry. This is the closest the public usually gets to get out to these launch pads. So we're going to go further than that today. We're going to go all the way out to Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get off the bus on the way out there, but if you talk to the driver, he's going to slow down and let you guys take some pictures. So this is where the visitor complex tours takes folks. There is a
Bye. See you later, guys.
Inside the tower there.
There it is.
And then there's telescopes and stuff up on the top, so periscopes and stuff, so you can see.
This is like the fun bus.
Again, here's the guard shack I was talking about earlier.
The guard shack is a new. Hi-oh.
That's wrong on so many levels.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, good. What if we could do that? Give it a test run. Make sure it still works. Maybe that's what they'll do with it. They'll turn it into a ride. On the major platform.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Where's my paper bag? Oh.
Should have gone to the bathroom back there.
I don't know how much you guys know about the launch platform out here.
It launches things.
It does launch things. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Transformers 3 was filmed
There's
there.
two parts to it. There's the big service structure, which is the big tower that's all the way at the end. And then there's what's called the rotating service structure. That's the part that kind of has no lower part to it, and then has a little set of like erector set there on the end. Basically, that rolls around in a half circle. The orbiter and everything, the mobile launch platforms that you saw inside the VAB earlier and so on, are all rolled right up the ramp there, and then are sitting where the variety of apparatus that goes across the pad is there. So the orbiter would be face on from this perspective. The rotating service structure would rotate over and encase the entire orbiter and everything about it, so that way it can be serviced while it's out here on the pad. And then the night before launch, usually it would be retracted and rolled all the way back over into this position that you currently see it in. That way it's not in the way for launch day.
Permission to exit the vehicle.
Please, we need a better vantage point than the window.
Is there any place to check in out here?
Oh, launch pad 30 minutes.
Here we go. Anthony's on it.
What happened?
Check-in.
Oh, check-in. Oh, ooh. Everyone check on their Foursquare.
Yes. You just unlocked the overshare
Do it now.
badge.
What's the pad number? 41?
39A.
That B is a concrete slab.
I didn't know there was an overshare badge, and I just got it.
I don't see it.
What's overshare? Is that...
Oh, wait. No, there it is, 39A. There it is. Check in. Your first monumental or landmark. Oh, sweet. I get 4 points for that.
Ooh, first.
Wait, you first?
I am, yeah. I'm at my all-time high, too. I did? You must have just jumped ahead of me. Oh, it's getting close. We're all at our all-time highs.
Yeah. Like, that's big. I think I yeah, somebody tried to climb up.
Hey guys, here comes another bus passing us, so hang on a second if you're taking a shot.
Let's boon them! I already did.
Some of them are civilians who came into the astronaut corps, and then those that are military basically are detailed over to the astronaut corps for the duration of the time they're in the astronaut corps. Basically, the astronaut corps is their duty station. So by crossing there by the guard shack, we're now on the Air Force Station. Our next stop's going to be Pad 41. This is where the Mars Science Laboratory Curiosity is going to be launching from at the moment, the day after Thanksgiving.
Awesome! Woo!
So,
you get low, I get high. Wow, those are some lightning towers.
You can let us ride them over?
Hey, I'm just 2 days away from becoming the mayor. Does anyone know what the white towers are for?
when you get up here, there's going to be 2 speakers, one from the Launch Services Program at Kennedy Space Center, and the other is going to be from the United Launch Alliance, which is the vendor for this particular launch vehicle for Mars Science Lab. And so they're going to talk to you guys just a little bit, very briefly, about what you're seeing and everything up there.
Cool.
Not yet, no. I saw a question.
What are the white towers on top of... What are the white towers for?
That's the lightning protection system. So when the rocket's out there, it's a fairly big lightning rod, so therefore there's bigger lightning rods around it. So that way it attracts the lightning and prevents any damage from a possible lightning strike to any of the electrical systems of the spacecraft.
Sweet. That's basically the mini VAB for these rockets. And then it rolls out on tracks out to the pad out there.
They have VAB ending.
Yeah.
Okay, when you guys get out, it would really behoove you to not get in the grass. There are fire ants out here, so stay on the pavement.
Oh, wonderful.
That would probably be to your benefit.
Yeah.
Wise words were never more spoken.
Wise words were never spoken.
So where's the... I hate that idea.
Wait, the rocket already took off? We missed it.
That's some ULA cards.
Are you representing ULA or from
No, I'm just helping him
LSP,
pass
or-
cards out. I'm
Ooh.
LSP out here today. I keep talking to Skip, by the way. I'm trying to get that thing going. Oh, he is. I got his pitch here today. I saw you had too.
Yeah.
Have we got a card from ULA here?
Yeah, well, I'll ask in the beginning if anybody, if they're missing some cards.
Yeah, a little warm.
Cool.
Can't wait. So you're a ringer out here, right? You can test to see if I know all the right stuff.
That's right. Hello. Can we take a picture?
card. Somebody needs a card.
You don't want one of these cards?
Pick a card, any card.
Pick a card. I'll tell you what.
I'll pick a card.
If you pick it, I'll tell you what it says. Okay, it's. Go ahead.
Thank you.
No, we're gonna talk right here. I'll talk about both sides.
I'll walk it. What's that all the way down there, those buildings? I've been here before, but not the ones all the way down there.
I know that's another vehicle assembly building, but just smaller. What's the buildings all the way down?
That's another one.
Oh, that's another one. Oh wow.
One of those
So
solid
how long do these tracks
That's
go?
the one that is
the tall one to the right.
Yeah,
That's the solid.
Did someone do something wrong here?
It kind of like
they're like, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
maybe switch tracks to here.
Oh.
Because it's cheaper just to
cut it off and
yeah.
So on launch day, basically, they roll out of the building. They're on the railroad track all the way up and out to the pad.
Wow.
So we bring the booster out here, the Atlas booster from the ASOC, which is it's there right now. They'll run it on down here. They just pull it with a truck, and they put it front end in towards the MLP. That MLP is already in the bit. You see that green type gray structure at the bottom with the handrails on it? That's the top of the MLP deck. Just off to the right, the back of the handrails is the bottom of the mast. The mast goes about 3/4 of the way up the building. The mast is used for what's the booster and the everything's on there. Just some of those that comes from the mast over to the second stage of the payload. That's what that mast is. Bunch of commodity lines run up. Environmental control system and hydraulics and pneumatics and electrical, everything runs up the mast. So we'll bring the booster out and we head it straight in with the engines in the back, and we use the crane to pick up the front and the wheels in the back, and we pick it up and make it, and it goes vertical. We pick it up we'll unpin it, pick it up and set it on 3 launch heads inside the MLP. And there's a hole in the MLP, it sets right down in there. So since this is MSL and it needs 4 solids, you need to put 4 solids on next. It's the next thing to do. So there's 4 solids, they're at the pad right now. And there's trailers on either right and the left-hand side of these train tracks. There's a white trailer. There's 2 of them on this side. It looks like there's 1, but there's 2, and there's 2 on the other side. And each one is an SRM, and it's an Aerojet, about 350,000 pounds of thrust when it launches. So they're loaded SRBs sitting right there, ready to go. So we already have them staged because we know soon we're going to put the booster up here, and we want to go back out. We take one at a time and bring it up here and then get rid of the trailer, and so then that's loaded. So then we got a booster that's vertical and 4 solids on it, and then we put an interstage adapter on top of the booster, an empty can, so to speak. It's just it's an adapter so we can put the second stage on. Second stage on our RL-10 Centaur, the engine sticks out the bottom, so we fit that right into the ISA. And then the launch vehicle is just about done. We put a boat tail section on the top. It kind of simulates, it's not the payload fairing. We don't put the payload fairing on it, just a cover on the top. We connect up all our T0 umbilicals, fluid, gas, electrical, everything's connected between the first stage and the second stage. Everything's connected. We run through some single system tests, some integrated system tests, subsystems. Everything proves out good. Everything's leak free. There's no stray bolts or different current paths on electrical. We take the whole stack, we pick it up on undercarriages and use trackmobiles, the small stubby locomotives on the back of the MLP, and we push it up this little incline. We push the MLP and the launch vehicle right into that pad equipment building. It goes right in, it's kind of shaped like a U, and it fits right in, stops about 1 foot shy, north going north, that would be north, and it's about 1 foot on either side, fits right in perfect like a glove. We set it down, make our autocoupler connections, the rest of the fluid connections, that's done in just about an hour or 2. Everything's all connected up. So we roll out for WR the day before WR. We make all the connections. And then we come in the next day and actually cryogenically tank the vehicle. On the rollout day, we actually take that opportunity to actually load RP1, the fuel for the booster, which is refined kerosene. That's RP1. That storage tank is on the back side of the, I'll tell you what that is in a second. So we load RP1 that day, right? The next day is cryogenic load day for the wet dress aerosol. No payloads on the vehicle. It's just a blunt end top, right? We load booster liquid oxygen, Centaur liquid oxygen, Centaur LH2, go all the way down to T0 and don't fire anything. At launch abort. Health check abort. The engines were looking for thrust, they had nothing. So we recycle back to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
We show we can do that, and then we terminate the test. No problems with the whole wet dress rehearsal. We detank everything except for RP1. Leave that on board, right? We can't launch. We have no payload, right? So we leave the RP1 on board because there's no reason to take it off because it's a fairly benign collapse. We take the whole stack the next day after everything's warmed up. We run back to the barn, back to the VIF, but 2 days later, MSL encapsulated payload is going to be at the bottom of that. It's going to run from Astrotek out to the bottom of the VIF. We'll pick it up with the same crane and set it up on top of the second stage. Between payload erection and launch, there's a couple of tests, checkout tests we need to do. We've made some new connections. The biggest test is a combined system test. We actually, electrically, the rocket thinks it's flying, the spacecraft thinks it's flying. We run all the way from launch onto spacecraft separation. Booster separation, Centaur first and second burn. Nothing's burning, nothing's happening, but electrically it thinks it's going, right? And then right to spacecraft separation. None of the signals actually make it to where they're supposed to go, but we send a signal, we get a loop feedback. Everything's good to go. We make those final connections, and we're ready for launch. So we roll out the day before launch, make our connections just like we did for WR, and we launch the next day, which for this rocket is the day after Thanksgiving. So guess what happens for Thanksgiving? We're rolling.
We're rolling.
Yeah. So there you go. So at the pad. So the liquid oxygen is on the east side, on the right-hand side. The big sphere is booster liquid oxygen, 465,000 gallons. The smaller tank right there, hot dog shape, is for Centaur, the second stage. Needs a lot less liquid oxygen. So the liquid oxygen is on the east side. The fuel, LH2 and RP1 is on the west side. You see the end of the LH2 tank is right there, the white tank. That's for Centaur LH2. And the RP1 storage tank is on the other side of that gray shack. The gray shack is the environmental control systems for conditioned air for the launch vehicle and for the payload. And while it's out here, there's another building like that back at the VIF while it's over there. So the RP1 storage tanks are in the back over there. So the fuel is on the side, oxygen is on the side. So when the rocket rolls out and the payload's on it, it's right in the center of that rectangle I described before of the lightning mitigation system, those guy wires. We launch right straight through that. Titan did the same thing. Right? So it's been there since Titan. The flame comes down in the ground and comes out. There's a little bit of a tapered, like a triangle-shaped, you see a bit of the flame duct. There's a pipe on it with some nozzles on it. We spray water in there. We dump a whole bunch of water for an acoustic suppression system. We load down the rocket exhaust with mass of water, and it slows down the acoustics, and we attenuate the acoustics that way. It actually has to go through 3 sheets of water before it gets to the exit of the launch pad.
You just pump in seawater?
No, we get water from the pump station. It's regular potable water or whatever, and we put it in big tanks, and then right next to the tank of water is a pressure vessel, and we pressurize the vessel to 3,000 pounds. So we open up the valve between the two, we pressurize the water comes out. Right, simplified.
What is the boiling temperature at this altitude?
Boiling.
Just kidding.
Liquid oxygen boils that. Okay. So the rocket exhaust comes out to the east, right? We have water deluge system, acoustic suppression. We get a lot of water in here too to help deluge the pad, because a rocket with a lot of solids is going to put a lot of nasty stuff around, and it's stuff we wash everything down when we're done anyway. So that's our whole process. Did you want to continue with some stuff? Do you want to?
I can talk a little bit.
Okay. So we have LSP representative here. You can talk a little bit of things.
My name is Rex Engelhardt with the Launch Services Program. We're basically NASA's broker for the rockets. We have the big contract that buys the launch services, and we buy from ULA with the Atlas and the Delta rockets, and we have Orbital Sciences with Pegasus, and we've got Taurus, we've got SpaceX when they come along, and so we've got the contract that buys those. We start with satellites all the way back when they're not selected. College profs or whatever have a great idea, some instrument they want to fly, a proposal. They write up a big proposal, they're reviewed at NASA headquarters, and we get involved in that process from the rocket requirement side of it. And then when selected, we introduce ourselves and we take them all the way through. It's kind of nice when you can get a spacecraft that'll fit on multiple rockets, because that allows us to do a mini competition, try and bring the price down a little bit, and also make sure we get people competing. That always helps the business out. And we buy the rocket for the particular mission, and then we get involved and help them integrate the satellite onto the rocket. It's a pretty big process of making sure they not only do they fit, but you got to worry about breaking each other. We got coupled loads and acoustics and all kinds of stuff that plays into it beyond just the basic mechanical interfaces. And we have a ground processing team that gets the offline processing. Have you guys been by Astrotek or the PHSF or MSL is right now, or those are called offline process. The satellite arrives about 2 months before launch. They do final build-up, final testing. They fuel the satellite. You don't want to ship it with fuels on board and that kind of stuff. So that's all done offline. Then it's encapsulated in the fairing. ULA Atlas uses an encapsulated process where they put the fairing around it way offline. They bring it out here already in the fairing and then put it up on the rocket in the VIF over there. And so we get involved in that process, and we have a launch team that gets involved with them, and we help launch the rocket. We've launched from here at the east coast at Kennedy Space Center, Vandenberg on the west coast, and we've also done Kwajalein Island with Pegasus will go out to Kwajalein Island, and we've done Kodiak once. So we're kind of available wherever a spacecraft needs to go. Whatever, different rockets are picking different launch sites, so we can anywhere you want to go, we'll try and take you there. So, you guys have any questions? He's talked about the rocket, and I can talk about satellite processing and the build-up and all that several years before. So, please feel free.
I may have missed it, but did you say that they're already starting to do the staging for the rocket?
So the rocket itself, the first and second stage, the booster and the Centaur are in the ASOC, in the Atlas Space Flight Operations Center, about 4 miles down the road. It's already there.
Okay.
And it's been there. It's getting ready to go to the Ordnance Bay pretty soon. So once it goes to the booster goes to Ordnance Bay, it's a day from coming out here.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what day they're going to roll it out, but pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Just curious, how long has this pad been in operation for?
Titan. It was back Titan.
It
Titan
at
2
least
days.
goes back as far as Titan, which is going to put you back 20 plus years.
Before I got here.
So yeah, I've been here since '83, and the pad was a Titan pad then, and I've been working for a long time then. So so we're well past 20 years now. We're more like 40 years probably. We keep the launch sites that have been sited and zoned through the environmental process and the explosive areas and stuff. You don't turn loose in one of those once you got it. Because it'd be very difficult, especially to go through and pick a new piece of ground and say I want to make a launch pad here. It'd be years getting that through the process again. So these sited zones stay there, and they're available for other rockets to use. If that's how SpaceX got the one. The twin to this one used to be a twin, is now where SpaceX is.
So you think these will be continued to be used for quite a long time in the future?
Sure.
Probably forever.
Yes.
Great.
Which is good.
Yeah, there used to be back in the old days. There was rocket silos and missile silos all up and down the Cape. A lot of them have gone away. We used to actually Complex 36 up till maybe 10 years ago was still there, and they knocked it down. So that needs to be resited again.
That's available.
Decide to build that, right?
Well, the shuttle pads did Saturn before that.
Yeah.
And so they tend to switch them over a little bit.
Right.
So when you talk about zoning and siting, that's all environmental, and you get basically permits from the government that allows you to be able to
talk about all that. It's more than just that. It's not just environmental. You've also got to deal with explosive hazard. If it blew up, is there any other buildings close enough? And then you got to make sure nobody gets any closer. You got to put the zoning in place that prevents other places. There's a lot of stuff that goes into picking a site. So when you've got one, you need to hold on to it and make sure you maintain that stuff so that you've got it's a national asset. Now you've got basically millions of dollars invested creating an asset, a location that's available now for this kind of business.
And because of the Mars, because of the fuel source that's going to be on that particular vehicle, are there additional? I guess we've already heard there's some additional concerns. I guess you have to worry about.
So radioactive, right? So right now in ULA's arsenal, the Atlas V is the only one that can launch a RTG.
I think Delta II has two.
Delta II. Well, so our last launch from this is tomorrow, right? Right. So So we have some special things we need to go through that we've run through all the wickets on that, and we've proven we could do it on other missions, and we're good to go on that.
That's not just rocket dependent, that's configuration of rocket dependent. Sure. The 401's been certified, I think the 551's been certified. There's some other flavors in between that vary mostly on the size of how many solid motors you have on the bottom that aren't. And if you want to use one of those, there's still additional work that needs to be done to do each one. And then even when you certify the rocket for that, that's only part of the equation. You have to now look at the combined system of the rocket and the spacecraft. How does this spacecraft, how close is that RTG to the rocket and to the solid motors? And they got to look at a system. What's interesting about that is that process to approve a mission to launch a nuclear payload is longer than the process of buying the rocket and launching. So you actually have to kind of stick your thumb in the air and see which rockets are really, like we're doing that right now for Discovery. We've got to start the process of certifying the rockets before we buy the rocket. So we got to guess which ones it might be and start paying that few $1 million for each one of those to get them going down the price, so you won't make it. It's a very long drawn out. Actually, the President of the United States actually signs off on that. On each one of them individually.
So they're RPGs. Yep.
We appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's late. Okay.
Any more questions? We're standing around while you guys are loading up.
Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much for all the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Space Operations Center. There we go. So we're going to drive by those buildings. They're government issue buildings. Some of the doors, especially on the vertical integration facility, hopefully they're open so you can at least see in and see what's going on inside of there. So this is where they're going to be stacking the Mars Science Laboratory rocket for a launch out there on the pad that we are just out at. That's this building. Yeah.
Wonder where they hide the plutonium.
So this is like the mini VAB?
This is the Air Force's version of the VAB.
It's mini-me.
It's private mini.
Oh, it's a bunch of bib-bab. I get it. Bib-bab.
Actually, I apologize. This is not the vertical integration facility. I just realized that. This is actually the solid motor assembly and readiness facility. So this is where they actually put the motors together. My apologies.
How can
Vertical
we
integration
trust
facility is
anything
the
you told us
next building
now?
that blocks our path.
I'm not interested in anything you just said now.
I gotta delete that tweet.
Sorry, guys.
Twitter just cleared up half.
I don't think so. I think she used it on Pittsburgh.
Ready?
Yeah. It's like government issue building. I think this is going to every green.
Material.
Aluminum, concrete block. It's a lovely shade of pinkish tan.
So one of the things about this building, if you notice, is that it looks almost like a warehouse here on this particular side. That's actually because there are large stages of rockets that are on their side horizontally in that area, including parts of the Mars Science Laboratory. So,
Yeah, I want to go there.
can we go there? So basically, it's a huge warehouse.
Should we
There's
take a
4 rockets in
bus tour
until
through
they're
there?
ready to be
Yeah, we
released.
take a bus.
Oh, that sounds like the coolest warehouse I've ever heard of. I like Warehouse 13.
Warehouse 13.
Area 51.
Yeah.
Stop.
Anthony, you're ahead of me. You didn't give me any points for checking into ASOC. Oh yeah, there we go.
Hey, I need a set of boots. Oh, that's awful. I'm kidding.
I check in at an alligator.
It's Jaws.
Can I check in at an That's great. No, but I think you could create a check-in for the rest of us to check into. That's awesome.
I'll only let you check in there if you sacrifice the bear and then like let it
Florida alligator now.
Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, and KSC are actually very, very large properties. And it's fairly uninhabited, which is why the wildlife love it here. Basically because if something goes wrong, we don't want people nearby. From the GRAIL rocket when we go out there.
Yeah!
fenced area though, so we're not going to be
but I need my
inside the
shot.
actual clear zone of the pad. We're going to be as close as we can be.
Can we
So, on our way down here, we're going to pass through a variety of buildings and so on. This is what's known as the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Industrial Area. This is where a variety of things that look like airplane hangars are. They're actually used to assemble and build rockets and the different components of them in there. Because at the time the Air Force built everything, the only building they had that was big enough to probably do something in, that they had an architectural, plan on the shelf for, were aircraft hangars. So they're not actually aircraft hangars. So as a result of that, you'll see several of them out there. This is going to be a little bit of a ride to get comfortable and so on. We've probably got about 10-15 minutes before we arrive down at the pad.
What it is, but it looks kind of cool.
Yeah. If it's getting a police escort.
Just a wide
Police escorts always got to mean it's something cool.
Hope so.
Oh, you're good.
Oh,
It's
not expensive.
It's a porta potty. It's a porta potty.
It's probably toxic.
It's a radioactive porta potty.
So those are ballasts for cranes. So when you have a crane that can pick up 170 tons, that you need big weights. So.
All right, come on. If they're so heavy, when do they usually come up with more cranes? But then where was the first crane?
I know. So something said, "Hanger you and little you." There's a sign that was talking about the hangars. It said, "Hanger you and little you."
Hanger R? Are we by Hanger R?
No, well, you just passed Hanger U.
Hanger U.
And little U.
And now Hanger S.
And now we're near N.
Can I check in at each hanger? Points galore.
Come on. I gotta have that blue hat.
Oh, there's one bar. Come on. Come on.
Tan hat with the blue. That'll keep the heat out.
So you'll begin to
Are
notice
those
on the
astronauts?
signs as we go by the different hangars.
Too heavy.
You'll see that some of these are still under NASA's control. So the rockets that we are assembling.
Now, I don't know what that woman wanted with that tree, but apparently she wanted it pretty bad.
What is she doing?
What the heck is she? Let me take this plant and plop it in the back of my car. That was kind of odd.
It's the world's longest sending tweet on Earth. And it's just friggin' text. Better be worth the wait.
Oh, past an M. Hanger M.
I got 3 bars.
Hey, is AE coming up? I got that.
We got A-O. AM is AE. There's E and O.
American English. My party spot. Can you check in there?
AE, that's the frat house, right?
Down here a little bit. We're
Kappa,
going to
Kappa.
see kind of a really bad view of where they bring in the solid rocket boosters for the summer program once they retrieve them from the ocean.
S.
I think he hates us.
With the boats at it. In fact, you can see the tops of the boats here. You can see it better from the causeway as we go back across. You can see it from the water side.
Janet's cute. Amanda's cute.
What are we supposed to be not seeing?
Oh, whoa. Stop.
Back up!
Oh.
I didn't get a picture.
Dude, Twitter's going to be mad.
Y'all are in trouble.
The government wouldn't pay for it.
Oh.
They'll get better view of the boats that retrieve the solid rocket boosters and everything.
I just saw an awesome view anyway.
Okay. You might redeem yourself. You have the rocket bus. Sorry.
It happens.
Flashing red, evacuate.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Notice how he closed the gate as he saw us coming.
No entry.
Wow.
That's the rowdy brush. I heard about them.
Get out. Enable that bus. Oh, yeah.
As we back up here, one thing to point out over here on your guys' left, the flashing lights here. So it's a red, yellow, green. Green usually means that it's just a normal operating day. The amber means that there is possible hazardous operations, meaning that there could be, things that are flammable or
getting some mixed signals.
There are chemicals and stuff out here. I don't know. So right now, Cat B is in the airplane, so it's in the yellow area. Cat A are very green.
Wow, look at that.
Again, just like when we were at the other launch pad, there will be somebody from Launch Services Program and from the United Launch Alliance out here. What we're going to do is we're going to wait for the group that's currently out here to finish up again, enjoy the AC, and once they begin to load their bus, we're going to walk back straight across here, and if you look behind us, you'll see a flatbed truck out there. We're going to go up and stand on top of the platform that's up there so we can see over the top of the fence and we can get better unobstructed pictures.
Yeah! Yeah.
Not a good time to visit. It says I have bars.
Yeah, and you can climb up on the flatbed and get above the fence level and get better pictures.
Is this platform so we can hop?
Hello! I want to see you hop that.
You want to see me hop that? I'll use my crazy all my mad hops I get from all my sports that require mad hops, like swimming and soccer. Both require mad hops, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're very jumpy sports.
I'll tell you what, if you did that, you'd be in the newspaper for something else. That's
Oh,
for sure.
I would be. And I would probably not be seeing the launch.
Yes. Restricted area by the order of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Says who?
Somewhere. Oops.
Look at those nice rolling clouds there.
Nice, pretty clouds.
The boat's shaking. He almost had a picture and then he put his camera right in front of mine. Okay, I'm done.
It's like, and I'm done. That's a nice, cool echo.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Space Launch Complex 17 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. We're standing pretty much in front or due southwest of Complex 17B, as in boy. This launch pad, you can see Complex 17A to the north a little bit. GRAIL vehicle and Space Force spacecraft back on the top of the 17B pad on the Delta II Heavy. Delta II Heavy uses heavy or larger diameter solid rocket boosters, 46-inch diameter. So each one of those white solid rocket motors is 46 inches around. It looks small when you're looking from here. And it's the last Delta II Heavy that NASA has purchased for launch. It'll be the 49th Delta II launch for NASA. And the 109th launch here at Complex 109? Maybe 149. Yeah, 149 launch for 17 A and B. My name is Chuck Tatro. I work in the Launch Services Program, the Mission Management Office. And with me today is Dave from ULA. He's a mission integrator for GRAIL, so he knows a lot about the stacking of the vehicle. And we're just going to sort of kind of give you an introduction to Complex 17 and the rocket. Dave Grant.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Dave Grant. I'm a spacecraft integrator with the United Launch Alliance and been working the GRAIL mission for a couple years now and working hard to get us to this point. So hopefully everything goes very well tomorrow. It's gone pretty smooth up to this point. All right, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about the vehicle and how it stacks and a little information on that. If you look, you can see the 9 solid motors, the white solid motors that encapsulate but go around the core booster, the main booster there, and that goes all the way up into the white room. As far as the main booster, on the right side here we have RP1. The main booster is fueled by RP1 and liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen is on the left-hand side in a tank. We take approximately 10,000 gallons of heat. We load the RP1 first, and the load will start at approximately T-minus 150, which is 150 minutes. And then we'll load LOX. And LOX gets topped off all the way pretty much up to T-minus 0. Since it boils off so quickly, we have to keep topping it off. as you go up and into the enclosed room there, that's what we call the white room. That is where our second stage is mounted on top of our booster, and that uses nitrogen tetroxide and Aerosine 50 for its fuel. So those are very hazardous commodities. We don't do that. We don't fuel that until the last minute as far as the launch goes. Normally we load that 2 days prior to launch. We did a little bit earlier on this one since we had some extra time. Once we load the second stage, the pad is in a very closed condition. It's very minimal personnel are allowed out there since of the hazard risk for the second stage being loaded. Also, all our ordnances are installed on the vehicles on both first, second stage, and also on the spacecraft. Spacecraft's also loaded with fuel. We've armed all the ordnance. We've connected them all up. All we have left now is to pull the launch pins, which is the last of the ordnance pins. And once we pull those, then the rocket's totally armed. And those pins are part of the destruct system. And basically how the destruct works is they'll have lines that go from the booster, from the boat tail, from the very bottom, all the way up to the spacecraft. And if the rocket separates at a wrong period of time, that'll kick off the destruct. So this cabling goes all the way up, and at a certain time it'll shut off when the mission's okay, obviously to separate. But before that time, if it gets off kilter, it'll go ahead and destruct. So that's part of that system. And they can hit the button. Range safety sits on a console during launch, and they have that power to hit that button if it goes off track to go ahead and destroy the vehicle. If it gets off course and it looks like it's going to head where it's not supposed to head, like downtown Cocoa Beach, they will destroy it. And they watch as they track the vehicle, the rocket launch. It'll have a cone that it must stay in. And as long as it stays in that cone, we're okay. If it falls out of that cone, they will destroy it. And normally you'll get a heads up, you'll see a problem before that happens. There's not much you can do about it once it goes into that kind of a launch, into that kind of a profile. Luckily, it's never happened as far as I know. We've lost some rockets, but not for that reason. Just where it went off on its own, kind of did its own thing. The spacecraft, when it comes out here, it comes out in a can. All the other rockets encapsulate their spacecraft before they come out to the launch pad, or out to the launch pad. For Delta II, it comes out in a can, and at that point, we have the fairings already up on the tower. And we keep them up in the white room also. Up on the right side of the tower, you can see these rails that go up into the green room, which is that little covered area up on those 3 levels up on top. We'll get that can up into that area, we'll pull it into the white room, we'll set it down, mount it to the second stage. Then we put a tarp, it's more than a tarp, but it's an AC shroud over the spacecraft at that time. The spacecraft will go through their checks, we go through some of our checks, and then we'll go ahead and encapsulate it out here at the complex. Once we encapsulate it, everybody does their final closeout, and that's right where we're at now. Spacecraft just finishing up their final closeouts, and then what we do is we'll have to go up and install doors on the flight doors. Once that's done, there will be no more access to the spacecraft. We'll start lifting levels, and we're getting the MST, which is the Mobile Service Tower, in preparation to pull back approximately 300 yards to the west, which is towards us. Once we get into that condition, which will be about 8 to 10 hours prior to launch, we'll do some final closeouts on the rest of the facility, and we'll be clearing back everybody at that point. Once we hit T-5 hours, everybody's off the complex and back into the Delta Ops building, which is back on the main road. You can't see it from here, but it's on the main road, and that's where the launch.
From here?
No.
It's a great spot.
It would be the last thing you remember. Maybe. The last thing you hear, anyway.
Last thing you hear, anyway.
Yeah. And then that's where the Launch Control Center is back there, and that's where the launch team will be. There are a lot of other players involved. Management will be up at AE. We have a lot of telemetry that goes through AE, a lot of telemetry that goes through Astrotech, and that's where the spacecraft has their control room, so they monitor the spacecraft from Astrotech
which is it's like 22 miles away in Titusville, which is quite a bit of ways. Let's see, I think that
About 11:30 tonight, they'll roll the mobile service tower back toward the fence. That's everything that's in a gray structure and the big white room on top of it. That's called the white room. It's an environmentally controlled 3-story room where they can bring the encapsulated spacecraft in, remove the can segments in the can, put it on top of the vehicle, and then put the fairing around it. Once the fairing's put around it, then we open fairing doors if we need to get in through the fairing. It's all environmental controlled up there to protect it from humidity, heat, bugs, dust, dirt, etc. It's all protected in there. And that entire structure rolls back and leaves just the rocket and the fixed umbilical tower sitting with each other ready for launch. And that can be done up to probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours before launch. It depends on the weather. They like to do it 8 to 10 hours before launch, but it can be flexible depending on what other operations are going on.
And then once the tower is rolled back, we still have control of the vehicle through the fixed umbilical tower, which is the solid part on the left, on the east side of the tower, on the other side of the tower, which we have umbilicals go up through there that will go into the second stage. And we also have an air conditioning duct, so we monitor and cool and control the relative humidity in the spacecraft area inside the fairing. And we'll control that up to T-0. Once we hit T-0 and we hit the launch button, the rocket will lift off, and the cabling and the plugs and all are on bungee cords, really. And they stretch out and pull back and become disconnected. The AC duct will come loose, and there's a door on the fairing that will slam shut. And so once we take off, the environment is already set into the spacecraft area and ready to go.
And it's only like that for a few minutes, because once you're up in out of the atmosphere, the fairing comes off and you're essentially in space. You're in vacuum, no particles, no air, no humidity, anything like that. So the fairing has done its job to protect the spacecraft from aerodynamic loads and aerodynamic heating as it goes up through the atmosphere. Once the launch vehicle is, once launch control is turned over to the computer in the last couple of minutes, and the rocket is activated and launched, the rocket has its own guidance and control system. It's flying on its own. There's not anybody that's controlling it, the webcam kind of thing. It's got its own flight computer. It knows where it wants to go and to get to what orbital velocity and altitude, and it flies to that. It controls the engines to get it to that point.
Yeah, it's amazing how close we get. I mean, we get really close to the targeted 9.8 out of 10% of the time. So it's a very successful program. It always has been, and it's kind of sad to see it go, but it will go. It's our last launch for Delta II at this point. I know you said for the NASA, but we have no others either. We used to do a lot of commercial launching, but our main customer was the GPS, and the Air Force owned the pad and all the facilities, and we launched all the GPS. The first one was in 1988, and we launched the 2s, the 2As, and the 2Rs from here, and now the 2Fs are going to be on Delta IV or Atlas V, and then even the next generation, the Delta III, which is GPS 3, will also be off the Delta II or Delta IV and Atlas V. So this is the last one for the East Coast anyway.
Yeah, as commercial spacecraft have gotten bigger, they've like Earth observation, direct TV, communication satellite, teleport, Skynet, those kinds of things have sort of evolved away from the Delta II and into the larger launch vehicles, because those spacecraft are enormous with all their fuel, their antennas, broadcasting capabilities. They've kind of grown out of the Delta II model, but the Delta II has been a very successful capability vehicle for NASA, which has a little bit smaller spacecraft, unique one-of-a-kind payloads with a lot of interplanetary trajectories. So NASA's used a lot of Delta IIs to launch missions, Moon, Mars, Earth observation satellites, those kinds of things since the late 1970s when they really started using Delta IIs. That's kind of all we had. If you have any more questions, there's another group that kind of wants to get out here, but if you have any questions, certainly ask us. Hopefully the weather will cooperate for tomorrow. Spacecraft is inside the fairing, and the fairing is inside the white room.
Okay.
It's all encapsulated and tucked up there and ready to go.
If you were to pull it back now, you'd have the pointy end up, and you'd have the fairings on, totally enclosed. It's just hard to see.
It's right next to the Astronaut Hall of Fame.
The sign
There's
was already
little signs that say
The sign was already,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
If you look on my tweets from yesterday,
So
you'll see a picture
as
of
you
me
go
next
by
to it.
there, that's
Shameless
on your
plug,
way out
shameless
today.
plug.
Good where you're going.
I was here.
Other thing, out of the causeway tomorrow, there will be porta potties.
Yeah.
There will be food available for purchase. And you are allowed to bring your own food or something like that. You cannot bring any cooler or big hard-sided objects. So you can bring a little bag, something like that, but nothing big that's bulky and so on, because we're going to be actually crammed onto 3 buses instead of 4 tomorrow.
Oh.
Every seat is spoken for, so if it doesn't fit on your lap, then you're toast.
Oh, luckily my big bag will fit on my thing.
Hey, is that one of the most? Yeah, that's
that's nice.
By the way, as we're going by here, just want to point out over on your left here, you can see the solid rocket booster retrieval ship over there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where they bring them back in from when they retrieve them in the ocean.
Is that Liberty or Freedom?
So tomorrow, you are allowed to bring folding chairs, the kind that collapse into like a tube shape. If it folds down into a flat shape, that's not allowed because that's not going to fit on your lap on the bus.
You can make it fit.
So any questions about that?
We will.
You're allowed to bring a blanket, whatever you want to sit on out there.
Oh, it won't
if you
be
have
cold.
those, the chairs that are like an L-shaped piece of cloth with the, clicky straps on the side, like camping chairs, you can bring that. So anything that folds down nice and compact, and you can fit on your lap with you on the bus ride out. But every seat is spoken for in the morning. It is going to be very tight because they're only giving us 3 buses. So it won't be as spacious as today. Sorry, guys. Well, you get to see a launch, so that's the cool part.
Hopefully.
No, there's no hopefully to it. We're gonna see a
So
launch.
you're noticing this is the areas where we're going to be in these roped off areas out here. There's porta potties every so often.
Would you work for
We're
NASA
going to be
if you could
watching from
service
right
the
here
porta potties?
at Rendezvous Area D. D is in David. So that's right here. So this is where we're going to be tomorrow.
Where the birds.
So this is your area, and that's your vantage point from over there. So.
Oh, that's not bad.
If you look directly back, the 2 twin launch towers that look identical back in that direction.
Oh, sweet. Okay, that's closer than I thought.
I accept.
Why can't we be on this side of the road?
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
there is no Wi-Fi out here. There's also no electricity, so bring everything fully charged.
Can we use those
In
chairs?
the highly unlikely event that we don't go tomorrow, as soon as the call is made that we're not going, we're going to pull the buses around, load everybody up, and get out of here. Because we know it's going to be hot. We know that you guys are going to want to get back to your vehicles and move about your day. So. Yeah.
What if they just delay the first launch window? Do we still pack up and come back?
If we are delayed from the first to the second, we will probably board the buses for air conditioning, and then we'll offload again for the second attempt.
Okay.
What's up with these chairs? What are they watching?
What?
What are they gonna watch? What are those chairs?
They're pointed the wrong way.
That is a great question. I mean, the bleachers are permanently installed facing the shuttle launch pad, so that's why they're facing that way. No clue about the chairs.
No.
You might want to send an email when you get back to the office.
Can we go swimming in between? Hey, dolphin on the right.
Where?
3 o'clock. Come
on,
pop up.
It's only Henny.
Nah, he was over there.
The Loch Ness Monster.
There it is, yes!
Oh, see myself.
If you check into
Any
the
other
office.
questions? Yeah.
What happens if it's outright canceled tomorrow and postponed to the 9th?
So our decision point on the morning is going to be the 6:30 a.m. decision about whether they're going to tank or not tank the rocket. If they decide not to tank, then at that point we are more than likely not going to be conducting any tweet-up activities tomorrow, and it'll all shift to Friday. We will be emailing everybody the details as soon as we piece them all together. Bear with us though. As soon as we learn that we're not tanking or we're not going to go for a launch attempt, at that point we're scrambling to figure out what our plan B is. Can we arrange buses? Can we arrange the parking lot? So we're trying to work our logistics, so we will communicate with you guys as soon as we iron it all out.
But we have to be here at 6.
That's a good point. We won't be here.
No, you won't have to email us.
We may not have to email you guys. That's a good point. That is how the timing works out. So
Well,
yeah.
we have to be at the parking lot
At
6.
6, right.
And the
board our
buses leave at
buses at 6:45 is when they leave.
Okay,
We board at 6:30
so we'll know
for 6:45.
before we-
Exactly. So if we do not tank, obviously we're not launching. So
tank.
Yeah. Go for
Hey,
tank.
so somewhere we can monitor that and like overnight.
it will be available on the NASA.gov/GRAIL website. If you're on your mobile device, mobile.nasa.gov will have the GRAIL launch as the first item on there starting tomorrow morning. There's an RSS feed of constant launch updates that are available.
Or Spaceflight Now.
Spaceflight Now is another good source.
Spaceflight 101, I think.
I'm trying to think, is Space Vidcast going to be out here doing?
I don't know, but Spaceflight Now, you can actually sign up and have them tweet to you or text to you.
SMS.
Oh, there you go. So we're going through what's known as the Kennedy Space Center industrial area. This is where most of the workers work here at Kennedy Space Center if they're not out working on an operational facility.
Before the
So it's a lot of office buildings. But the couple to point out here. So this first facility here is where all the pieces that were carried up to the space station were processed. There's a huge clean room in there, and they go through and basically prepare them for launch, pack them up, and store them and everything. The other thing that this building also does is where the astronauts suit up before launch, then they load into the Astrovan and they'll go from here. That's this second building here.
Oh, wow.
And then the third building on down here, you'll notice it has a 4th-story tower that's up in the middle of it. That's the headquarters building here, and the center director's office is in the top of that 4th-story tower.
Lucky.
Everything else is 3 stories here. So, yeah.
Did that building used to be on the tour back when they were building the ISS?
Yes, when ISS assembly parts were still in there, it was on the tour.
Okay, I remember that building.
What's happening?
Again, here's the headquarters building. So,
Jason,
what's happening to the Astrovan now?
the Astrovan is currently being basically stored.
eBay?
No, it's not going to eBay. No. I'm trying to remember. It's being donated to a museum. I'm trying to remember which one it is. So,
What are the ones that didn't get a shuttle?
If you have your visitor complex tickets, the Astrovan before the current Astrovan is currently at the Saturn V Center. It's the one that carried all the Apollo astronauts out and everything. It's at the Apollo Saturn V Center that's on the tour that's included with your visitor complex ticket. So you can go out and see the previous incarnation
So
of the
they're going to have to get another van or pull that one from storage to put more in. If we go back to manned spaceflight, does that mean we're going to have to build a new van, or is that going to, you're going to snatch it from the museum?
You're going to take it back.
Just go buy a van.
I do know that the one that we've been using for 30 years. I mean, it's retro wood paneling and orange and brown carpeting on the inside.
I want to see inside of there.
So, I mean, it's a throwback to the 70s.
Hook us up.
So, my guess, So, my guess would be that depending on the operational requirements, I mean, that one's designed to hold up to 7 astronauts and 3 support crew members for the ride out. So, depending on what the requirements are for whatever the next vehicle is, if we need 8 astronauts, then we're going to have to either modify that one or we're going to have to build a new one or something.
Trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it's all dictated based on the operational requirements.
The double wide.
Well, given the history of bidding, it'll be built by a French manufacturer. In China. Yeah, in China. Like the new tanker planes for the Air Force.
Exactly.
Wow, that one is really red. Yeah, I didn't think it came in this far.
Is everyone staying here to eat, or?
Yeah, I am.
You are? 110, so I am. It's like a 20-minute drive each way to get to civilization.
I ain't wasting a lot.
You could do it. You probably could make it, but it'd be tight.
Probably be better just eat there. And the shuttle fell over.
Oh man, the shuttle fell over. Someone needs to tweet that.
What?
SOS, shuttle fell over at visitor center.
We need crane 1 and 2. Crane 1 and 2, please.
SOS, no Taco Bell in range.
I need an acronym generator.
SOS.
Any other questions before we disembark from the bus? You are welcome to go inside, outside.
Is there a water fountain in there?
There better be.
It better be.
There is one. It's going to be right next to the restrooms. That's right inside the lobby of the Diva Center.
Directly from the toilet.
Always put them right next to the toilet.
There's something something messed up with that.
It's toilet water.
It's like everyone waved.
But it's filtered.
Thank you guys very much for coming on the tour today.
Yes! Woo!
Hour and 45-minute break. Please remember to be in your seats at 3 o'clock so we can go live, okay?
You only let us astray once.
And we look forward to having a great afternoon as well. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. At J Towns Rocks.
Yeah, we're Jason. Let us know. So.
Get me off, damn it. Get me off.
Thanks to him for all the little slow rides.
Thank you, Jason!
Thank you. You are the best bus driver ever.
Yay!
Woo!
And he
We're all
carries a
adopting
droid.
you.
Are you
I got a
on Twitter?
whiplash!
Okay, so when he's creating this account,
Do we have to sit at the same table we were at this morning? We did have a good table.
Yeah, I guess we could sit at every.
Alright, so we make a run for the ring.
Where all the little
Yeah.